You may think that what you see in front of you is some wannabe male to female transgender person who isn't presenting herself very well and is got quite frightful hair actually. This is a bit of a bird's nest on my head at the moment, as you know. So I wanted to talk today about finding my voice. Now, presentation is not all there is to gender identity, although it is important. It is important to me, and I don't feel I'm particularly doing it effectively or conformistly at the moment. But the way I'll put it is as follows. I think gender identity arises, for some reason I don't understand, from the structure of your brain. That is, if you have a female structured brain, and that is in itself controversial because of the nature of brain plasticity, then you identify as female. In the same way as a forgetful person is a person whose brain forgets easily, and the same way as a left-handed person or a right-handed person is a person whose brain is lateralized on one side or the other, very often, not always. So a female person, in my definition a woman, is an adult whose brain is structured in the female way. And that is, I think, how my brain is structured, which I can actually demonstrate by use of certain neurological tests, but I don't think it necessarily depends on that. So what that means really in the end is that I could be socialized as male, and of course I have been. I could be balding, have a comb over, have a sports car, be in the middle of a midlife crisis, which I might be anyway, of course, and want to have sex with a woman half my age and all that sort of stuff. None of those things, although I don't, and I don't know if anyone in this situation really does, none of those things will stop me from being a woman, because it's in here. I am my brain. I know I contradicted that before, but I am my brain, and that's what makes me female. Basically, the driver in the seat of the vehicle, which is my body, is a woman driver. And you can make of that what you will. So, I don't know if there are people like that or not, of course, and I don't necessarily do a particularly convincing job at doing a female voice. But one of the reasons for that is that I feel myself squashed out of existence or out of my identity by the people around me, sometimes by circumstances, and at that point I don't have the courage or the confidence to carry that off in a normal manner, in an effortless manner. And even when I do, I might have doubts about the way I express myself. So I thought I would talk about the actual physical components, rather the acoustic components of trying to do a female voice, whether or not I actually do it well, and I'm not sure I do. First of all, the basic frequency of a man's voice is about 120 hertz. And the basic frequency of a female voice is around 200 hertz. So you have the job of attempting to raise your voice to about 200 hertz. Now I don't actually do that, or not at the moment anyway. What I do is I raise it to about 150, 160 hertz on the whole, and I tend to drop out of it, as you would have seen in my previous video. And that is one of the things that you need to do to try to change. But the thing is, obviously, that's going to put a lot of strain on your larynx, because your larynx is very large compared to a woman's larynx, and you have to tense it the whole time for that to be possible. So you have to get used to that way of talking. However, there are also other factors. Another one is the resonance. Usually it's chest resonance, which is dominant in a male voice, and throat and head resonance, which is dominant in a female voice. So you have to change your resonance of your voice so that it's up here rather than down here. And what happens when that happens is your voice sounds a lot higher to you. Now I can't say anything about sea swimming or anything like that, because obviously I'm not one, but it makes your voice sound higher in your own ears, in the same way as it sounds higher when you hear a recording of yourself, perhaps, if you're a man. And so that's what happens. Now there's a number of other things. There is, for example, the articulation, particularly at the front. There is a difference between laminar and apical consonants. Laminar consonants are the ones which are pronounced like this, and so when you do that your voice sounds different. But if you use this kind of pronunciation where you're using the tip of your tongue, you tend to sound more feminine, I think. And there's also the gay S, which is quite interesting. I'm not sure how that happens. You have to ask somebody else about that. So that's one of the things. Another thing is that there are other factors. For example, the contrast between voiced and unvoiced sounds is weaker in typically female voice than in a male one. Oh, hello.